You worked for the state of Mississippi Bureau of Narcotics.
Yes, sir.
And it's no secret at all when you're in that kind of realm, there's stories there that are exciting, maybe not in the moment, but afterwards. And I've asked you to bring a couple of those to the storytelling today. So tell us a couple of those stories from your career.
Traveling on I-20 one day, coming home from the district office, which was in Meridian, Mississippi, traveling back to Morton. And it was late afternoon. We'd been over there working. We'd actually gone out the night before and worked all night and was coming in that day, going home to try to get some sleep, actually. Coming along between Morton and Forest on I-20, I was westbound. And over in the eastbound traffic, I see a vehicle over on the shoulder of the road with a hood up and there's smoke coming out from under the vehicle. I also, as I'm passing, observe a female with a baby and another gentleman or a gentleman with them. And so I almost kept going, but that side of you, the side that public service, I guess, or, trying to be helpful to somebody, I cut across the median and went back and pulled up behind the vehicle. The girl's up there holding the baby in front of the car, and the gentleman walks back and meets with me. Complacency, that's something that law enforcement hears about all the time. Dave, I know you heard this many, many times too. Complacency kills, and stress and tiredness and just being worn out. Sometimes you overlook things, and so I get out of the car, walk up to this gentleman, ask him if he needed help. Obviously did. Hood's up and car smoking, but asked him if he knew what was wrong with the car. He said, I think it's overheated. I think maybe you need water in the radiator or whatever. So I go up to the front of the car. Radiator cap still on it. Of course, he starts tinkering with it. I told him leave it alone because it's popping off steam, and it was obviously under a lot of pressure. So I said just leave that alone. I said here's what I'll do. If you where you can, I said I will take you. Well, he asked me would I take him to one of the exits. I said I'll take you up to the Forest exit. And Brother Robin, you remember they had a Best Western there when you got off the interstate on the right. I said they actually have a place or a fund set up there with the Best Western through some of our local churches who would provide like overnight stay. They sometimes would give that family a few dollars to get gas, whatever it may be, but they had a little account set up for that. So I said maybe they'll be able to help you and get somebody headed your way. And I'll call anybody you want me to call to try to get them here, but whatever. But I was ready to get to the house. I'm not gonna lie about it. I was just totally worn out. So I take them to first I put them in the truck with me. I put the female and the baby got in the front seat. They didn't have a car seat with them too, by the way, but I put them in the front seat of my car and strapped them in. And the gentleman gets in the seat directly behind me. And so we pull back out on the road and we go up to the Forest exit, get off, and go to the Best Western. Let them out of the vehicle. They told me thank you, whatever. We talked briefly just between. It's about a 4-mile drive, so we didn't have a long in-depth conversation, but we chatted about various things. They said they were from Monroe, Louisiana. And so drop them off at the front door of the hotel and I leave. Well, no sooner did I get on the road, pull back out on 35 there in front of the hotel, and I hear on the police radio that there was a disturbance at the hotel from the local police department. They were dispatching their officers for a disturbance there. Well, I was thinking, I'm right here at it. Just let these people out of the car. I'll turn around and see what it is and see if I can, offer them help as well. So I turn around and go back to the hotel, and as I pull up to the front door, I see the gentleman who I'd let out of my truck running away from the hotel, and which I thought was odd, but again, I'm tired. I'm brain's probably not working, like it should at the moment. Well, I see the manager of the hotel holding the doors closed, and I could see on her face she was, obviously scared. Something had her upset. So I get out of the vehicle. And she slings the door open. She says, come in, get in here. And she pulls the door like she's trying to keep somebody from coming back in. I said, what in the world? What's happening? What's wrong? And her name was Robin, too, by the way. Miss Robin looked at me and she said, you need to talk to this lady about what she just told me and about why he ran out of here. And so I pulled the lady off to the side. At that moment, she's crying, still holding the baby. She's got tears in her eyes. She's all you obviously been crying for a minute or so at least, because I mean, she literally, her shirt's wet in tears. And I said, ma'am, what's going on? I said, I just let y'all out of my truck. And she said, I couldn't say anything while I was in the car with you because he told me if I opened my mouth, he would kill me, the baby, and you. And I said, well, what are you talking about? She said, he killed my mother in Monroe, Louisiana, kidnapped me and the baby, and were taking us to Georgia. You know, for a second, you go, that can't be. I mean, you mean I just had this guy sitting right here behind me in the seat, and he killed your mother and kidnapped you and your baby? She said, yes, sir. I said, why didn't you give me some kind of nod or something, you know, to get my attention? She said, because he told me when you pulled up, he would kill the baby, he'd kill me, and he'd kill you if I said anything. Meanwhile, the police department was rolling up. So I stepped back out the door and tell them, I said, hey, guy just went that way. Allegedly now is a murder suspect. He was a murder suspect on what she said, you know. So they take off in that direction. A few minutes, they come driving by. I stayed there with the baby and her. And they come driving back up to the front door, had the guy in the back seat. Officer gets out and walks around to me and said, come look at this. I walk over, and on his front seat, he had a 9mm pistol that he had taken off the guy. The guy hid in some bushes down the street there, and somebody saw him go into that little area, and they were able to apprehend him. But he had the pistol in his clothing that he killed her mother with in Louisiana. So I pick up the phone, and I call West Monroe Police Department just to see if they'd had a murder night before or anything yet reported. And they said, no, we had anything at their residence that we know of, but we'll send somebody over to see if there's anything out of place or anything unusual at the house. So they send a couple of officers over, and within about 45 minutes, I get a phone call back that there's a body in the kitchen.
Wow.
Man.
This kid had literally murdered his girlfriend's mom, kidnapped her and the baby, and were taking them somewhere in Georgia. I'm not sure. I don't remember where they were going, but I ended up in like a week-long murder trial in Louisiana about a year later. Matter of fact, I snowed in while I was there. But anyway, that's probably the most memorable story that makes me talk to officers, especially young officers, about, you know, just paying attention to, you know, and it shows
Jimmy,
you too
the
how
Lord
quick.
was with you.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
no doubt.
the Lord was with them too for breaking
Yeah.
down.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
doubt.